Getting a victory royale in Fortnite is an incredible feeling. It is pure joy when you bested an entire lobby of players and take home the first place prize. However, the only thing better than winning as a solo is winning with your best friend and your duo by your side. Today, we look back at the top 10 best duos in Fortnite history. Let's start with number 10, MrSavage and Benjyfishy.
Coming in, yeah, flex. I just wanna win, yeah. LABB, who we running with?
And before we talk about their accomplishments, let me tell you how I'm judging these players. Number 1 is how long they've played together for. We're giving extra points to duos who lasted a long time. Number 2 are the tournaments they won. This one's pretty self-explanatory. And number 3, finally, would be their impact on the game. Why do we remember them after all this time? Now that we're on the same page, let's jump back into the first ranking. MrSavage and Benjyfishy started playing together competitively right before the World Cup in February of 2019. They did well in some of the cups held before qualifiers like the Blackheart Cup and the Lux Cup. However, they weren't clear standouts or favorites to win the World Cup. Where they really showed their value as a duo was during the European warm-ups for the World Cup on April 7th, 2019. The duo placed first in all of Europe, which was not just crazy because of how high they placed, but because both of the two young players were only 14 years old at the time of the World Cup. After that, they got first place in the first duo qualifier of the World Cup on April 21st.
Yeah, we're chilling, bro. We're chilling. Let's go. Good shit, dude. Let's fucking go.
This also made Benjyfishy one of the first to ever qualify for both the World Cup solos and duos. And this, of course, gained the attention of many players in the community. After this historic win, they were invited to participate in Keemstar's Friday Fortnite and took home first place in their first week there. Going into the World Cup, they were definitely two players that were being looked out for.
And who thinks Megga and Savage are gonna win the World Cup?
Another young squad, MrSavage M and Benjyfishy. MrSavage M is cold-blooded. Every time I met him, I'm scared of him. We'll get those pictures fixed, don't worry. But either way, these guys are two absolute tanks. Almost like these guys are in a class of their own.
They are, man. I mean, I've competed against some of these guys in some other online tournaments as well. And I mean, literally watching Benji just slay out an entire lobby by himself in squads is... It's like, it's art, man.
Despite all the hype around Benji and Savage, the two only placed 14th out of 50 teams in the Duo World Cup. Unfortunately, this put them just outside the range of higher earnings. However, the two did still get to split $100,000, which is nothing to be ashamed of at just 14 years old. Because of this disappointing placement, the two decided to mutually part ways after the World Cup. However, they would play together occasionally between 2020 and 2022, but were never able to fully recreate the success that they had before the World Cup. Eventually, Benjyfishy, as many of you know, would retire from Fortnite and is now succeeding at a high level of competitive Valorant, whereas MrSavage, on the other hand, is still kicking it in Fortnite. If you want to keep up with him, he's now playing with Mongrel and some other high-level EU players. I think the main reason that Benji and Savage made this list is simply because of how much of an iconic duo they are. Although they may not have the highest earnings or biggest tournament wins as a duo, their impact on the game was absolutely tremendous, and I think it was admirable how long they played together after the World Cup even ended, and still remain friends to this day. However, our next duo don't play Fortnite at all anymore, and that's number 9, Tfue and Cloakzy. In the beginning, Cloakzy was a smaller Fortnite content creator who got reached out to by FaZe out of the blue.
I was pretty much a no-name. I made a name for myself, was posting clips to Twitter and stuff like that, and FaZe reached out to me back in February, and they're like, hey, we're extremely interested, we want you to build a team. And I was like, this is like top of the line, like FaZe Clan, like came to me and wanted me to build a team.
So when Cloakzy needed a fun and entertaining, yet incredibly talented duo partner, he knew exactly who to call. Tfue had been a talented player in the Battle Royale community for a while, but really blew up after being invited to FaZe Clan. The duo teamed up for the first time ever during the Friday Fortnite's 2018 season and absolutely dominated. They won the $10,000 first place prize in Week 3, Week 5, Week 7, and Week 9, which meant that Tfue and Cloak had earned $40,000 in earnings before Epic had even made official tournaments. And speaking of official Fortnite tournaments, these guys dominated the first ones ever. They played together throughout the summer skirmish, but really took off during the fall skirmish. Here, Tfue won 2 of the solo events, and the duo was also able to take home first place in the Week 6 of the LAN event.
Your number 1 duo is Tfue and Cloakzy!
This earned them over $500,000, and the two were now being considered the best of the best before the World Cup. And because of this, when they announced the World Cup, everyone just assumed that Tfue and Cloakzy would be the winners of that too, or at least make a run deep into the LAN. However, the world was shocked when this duo didn't even qualify for the World Cup finals. Although Tfue was able to qualify as a solo, they never were able to find a way to make it work as a duo and qualify for the World Cup. This loss was devastating for Tfue and Cloakzy, and honestly a shock to the entire Fortnite world. But despite this huge disappointment, the duo decided to stick together. But as time went on and they didn't qualify for tournaments, it became clear that this duo was on a path towards destruction. Both Tfue and Cloakzy wanted to be out of their contracts at FaZe at this point, but Tfue was way more public about it when Cloakzy kept quiet and was more behind the scenes. Then, following all of this drama, on September 7th of 2019, Tfue would randomly tweet this: looking for a new permanent trio who take competitive seriously. This sort of inferred that Cloakzy wasn't taking competitive seriously, and it was further backed up when Tfue went on stream and ranted about Cloakzy and their third man at the trio at the time, who was 72 Hours.
Alright, so Tom and Cloak haven't been playing Fortnite as much as they usually do because they've been playing WoW, and they told me like they want to take a break, they don't want to burn out. So I'm like okay, like understandable. But like obviously like I expected to still fucking practice at the very least every single weekend, you know what I'm saying? They do a sponsor stream for Madden and they're getting paid or whatever, and it's on this weekend. Madden offered me over $140,000 to play their game, and I declined because I thought that we were going to play the tournament this weekend, and they took the offer without telling me. So now I'm out over $140,000. If they want to pay me the money that I lost, then I'm down. But other than that, I don't really with them.
Luckily, Cloak and Tfue managed to talk out this beef before the Chapter 2 Season 1 FNCS, but the damage had already been done. They remained friends, but decided that being a duo wasn't the best for them, and they played their last official duo game on December 8th of 2019. However, I couldn't put them any higher on the list because they hadn't really won that many major tournaments. They did have a ton of earnings, with over $1 million when you combine them, but a lot of that came from solo tournaments and also tournaments from back when the prize pool in Fortnite was a lot bigger. Number 8 is Dubs and Megga.
That was sick.
Yeah, what'd I just do? I don't get it.
Dubs and Megga became a duo right before the World Cup qualifiers when they found each other in a scrim server.
So the way I found Megga was back in squad scrims. We had a team and I was the owner of the team. We saw Megga like needed a team, so we picked him up and we just started dominating.
Their official first game together was all the way back on March 17th of 2019. The two eventually qualified for the World Cup finals during week 6 of the qualifiers and placing 6th on NA East.
When we qualified for duos, it was so sick because we thought it was over. Like we were 8 games in and we had like 40 points or something super low, and we had 2 games left. And we had to get like 2 20 bombs back to back and the win to qualify. And we ended up doing it somehow. And then we qualified, and it was just like, it was actually unreal because we did not think we were going to qualify.
Because of the insane performances from both of these players in solos and duos, they were reached out to by the biggest gaming organization of that time, which was FaZe Clan. While Dubs and Megga didn't take home first place in World Cup duos, they did get a top 7. This means that the very young duo, who were both under 15 years old, would take home a combined $375,000. After their success in the World Cup, this duo would stick together, and although they wouldn't move on to get an FNCS title, they came very close in one of the early tournaments when they got 2nd place in the Chapter 2 Season 2 finals, winning $37,000. Throughout the next few years, Dubs and Megga would have some okay placements, but they would play their final game together on May 29th of 2022. They weren't the best players of all time, and there are definitely some duos that had more raw talent than them, but if you listen to those dates that I just said, they played together for over 3 years. And while Megga is still making content outside of Fortnite, and Dubs has allegedly joined the army, it's safe to say that this duo won't reunite unless there's some sort of IRL draft. For number 7, we have 2 players that are still very much playing the game, Queasy and Veno.
Came through tripping Aquafina, I'm sipping 15, kept a weapon on me. Flow make digits, I'm on my business, stack chicken like what it's gon' be. Crew in the cut, hey, you want us, run when I tell a peace. Love is love.
Queasy and Veno are one of the best duos on this list when it comes to pure talent. The two actually were supposed to play much earlier on, back in 2022, but Queasy decided to play with Hen instead.
Me and Veno were gonna play the first season duos, but I decided to go with Hen. In my head, Veno wasn't good enough. Or like, he didn't have the placements to prove it, you know? But I knew he was good, like, in my head, like, it was either him or Hen, but Hen had the placements to prove it, so I decided to go with Hen.
However, this duo would end up uniting later in 2022 after Veno messaged Queasy asking him to play.
I was actually gonna go play with Jerky. When we, like, decided to play, I was literally on Twitter making a tweet. Queasy X Jerky, shifty shafts all season, or whatever. And then I got a DM from Veno, like, yo, are we playing? And I was like in call with Jerky. I was like, well, I just got a DM from Veno, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I want to play with you, but I have to play with Veno. And I literally just switched the tweet, Queasy X Veno, shifty shafts all season.
This might have been one of the best decisions of both Queasy and Veno's career. They first started playing together officially in July of 2022 and started dominating the EU region immediately. On August 18th, 2022, they placed 3rd in the Chapter 3 Season 3 Grand Finals, earning $150,000. On top of earning all this money, it also solidified them an invitation to the first LAN event back since World Cup, which was the FNCS Invitational 2022. And although this duo didn't get the coveted first place, they did end up getting 2nd, which earned them another $150,000. Anyway, Queasy and Veno continued to dominate into 2023, where they got a first place win during FNCS Major 2 on May 14th of 2023. Their first ever FNCS win as a duo that not only won them $200,000, but also got them a one-way ticket to the Global Championships in Copenhagen. The duo did pretty well in Copenhagen, placing 11th in the world. And sure, it's not first place, but 11th out of literally every duo in the world isn't too bad. But it wasn't good enough for Queasy and Veno, so they decided to part ways. While the two are playing separately, I don't think there's any bad blood between the duo, so maybe we'll get a Queasy and Veno reunion in the future. Our team at number 6 is probably one of the most decorated duos of all time, Saf and Zayt.
Leader.
Let's go!
I'm sure that some of my audience hasn't even heard of Saf and Zayt, considering that they were massive all the way back in 2018, and they were never really the most famous duo like Tfue and Cloakzy. However, listen to what I have to say about them and you'll understand very quickly why this is one of the best duos of all time. Zayt was invited to week 3 of the summer skirmish, but unfortunately he didn't have a duo to play with. However, things would change when his buddy Saf was free that week and ready to play.
I think it was because he got invited to the week 3 skirmish, and there was literally no one to play with, like no one good enough to play with him, I guess, and like he just asked me and I'm like, sure, because we were friends already, and like he went like through the friend group basically, and then he asked me and then we just played together.
So you were the last pick?
Basically, yeah.
That's crazy.
Despite this being their first time ever competing together, the duo got first place and a prize of $60,000. However, there was only one problem. Saf was already duoing with another popular player at the time named Ghoul, and Saf's management recommended that he didn't change duos last minute. However, Saf knew better and understood that Zayt and him could be something big.
And then I went the next day, DM my managers, I'm like, I'm done playing with Ghoul, I'm playing with Zayt. Like, we're over this.
If you're an OG Fortnite fan, you remember these guys in the World Cup. They got their ticket to the World Cup during week 4 when they placed first in North America East. They would continue to dominate during the qualifying rounds, placing 3rd in both week 6 and week 10. Once in New York City, the duo would also finish well by placing 4th in the duos tournament and winning $1.5 million. That means they both took home $750,000 each, which is a life-changing amount of money. Because of how well the two did in the World Cup together, they would stay together and play all the way through March 2021, when Zayt would decide to retire. Although they never got another win in FNCS, they did manage to get themselves some top 10s and be consistent for the rest of their careers. That following year in 2022, Saf would retire as well, and as much as I doubt these guys would return to the game, they have left a massive legacy. And our next team at number 5 is one of the shortest lasting but most successful duos on our list, Cooper and Mero.
I've been mortified, 45, feeling like a Mordecai. I ain't regular, feel like Jordan wearing 45.
Cooper and Mero actually have the coolest backstory out of anybody else on our tier list.
Let's first shine a light. The coin toss. Talk to me about this coin toss. How did this all go? Is this real? Is this made up?
Yeah. I didn't really want to play the game too much no more. And I was like, you know what? I'm doing nothing better. I'm getting a teammate, and I'm coming back. I don't care. Like, I flipped the coin, and I was like, all right, we'll play on Cooper.
The two of them would start playing together right before Majors 2. Despite being one of the newer duos, they placed 2nd during the Grand Finals on May 14th, earning $95,000. This was an incredible placement, which also earned them a spot in the Globals at Copenhagen later that year. Unfortunately, in Major 3, they didn't perform as well, finishing 9th in North America. But it didn't matter because they were all focused on LAN later that year. And at LAN, they had a pretty rough day 1.
I mean, honestly, mine clicked a lot earlier before that. Like, after we didn't qual through uppers, like, I sat in my room, I kid you not, put my earbuds in. I just thought, I'm like, what am I doing? My confidence was gone.
So, bro, I cried. I'm so serious. I was like so upset because I felt like I let him down and I let like everyone else down watching me. I go back in the lobby, I just start tearing up, bro. I was so upset.
Since the duo didn't score well enough on day 1, they had to face off against the last chance major winners on day 2. Luckily, they pulled through and managed to survive until the final day of LAN, and they didn't just survive, they conquered.
Mero and Cooper from day 1 getting knocked out of the upper bracket to standing tall here.
Lift that trophy! Congratulations, Mero! Congratulations, Cooper! How amazing it must feel to be the global champions!
Mero and Cooper took home the first place prize of FNCS Global Championship, which was $1 million. The duo would stick together for the next major, which was the first one of 2024, but decided to part ways after placing 9th. Although the duo don't officially play together anymore, they're clearly still on good terms, as they've played some Cash Cups together as recently as September, which was just last month at the recording of this video. And before we get to the top 3, we have to talk about team number 4, Aqua and Nyhrox.
I ain't hold on to anything dragging me down. Wake up in the AM, say a prayer, then I leave out. So when it comes to us, the
Aqua and Nyhrox are probably going to be the least known duo on this list, and that's absolutely crazy considering they won the World Cup. But let's go back a little bit first. The duo met just before the World Cup qualifiers started.
Me and Aqua started practicing together 1 month before the World Cup qualifiers started.
In the beginning, of course, they had to train about the communication skills. After a few days of practicing, there seems to be a very good duo.
They jumped right into the World Cup qualifiers, and their first qualifiers probably didn't go as well as they planned. They placed 64th in Europe, which is good statistically, but nowhere near qualifying. They really had to lock in during the next week of duos, and that's exactly what they did. Aqua and Nyhrox placed 3rd during week 4 of the qualifiers, which would earn them $6,500 and a spot in New York City.
These guys have all punched their tickets, so let's put them on up the board, get those first qualifying spots.
Then when it came, we all celebrated and started cheering a lot.
Aqua, what do you think makes this the perfect match for you guys?
Yeah, we're gonna win.
Fantastic.
One duo reign supreme. So let's go ahead and make it official right here in the winner's circle. Gentlemen, the trophy is yours. Your Fortnite World Champions, Aqua and Nyhrox!
And on top of getting a really cool trophy, the duo also won $3 million. However, instead of celebrating their victory, this duo made the choice to break up. Well, more like Aqua broke up with Nyhrox.
The day after the finals, Aqua sent a message saying he wanted to break up. It kind of shocked me, but I didn't get sad or anything of it. It was just really weird that he wanted to split after we won the finals. I remember asking why, kinda. I think the reason was that he wanted to play with Stumpy because they're both German, so they could talk German together. And he felt like they were a better duo than me and him.
Of course, Nyhrox probably don't like it a lot because we won World Cup. I mean, why should we split? But me and Nyhrox was only playing on tournament days. I just said to Nyhrox, I want to try out with Stumpy in the next tourneys because we are playing it all day long. We're not doing anything else than playing together. So I think it's the right decision to switch partners for me.
I wasn't really hurt, but in the start I was kind of confused on the way he did it, and he didn't really give it time. I thought maybe we should go back home and like try more and see how it goes, but I wasn't really surprised because we talked about it before the finals that he played a lot with Stumpy and they were good friends. So
I want to be the best. I want the best chance for my team to be on top. So if I can speak German and it's better for me, I'm gonna speak German with Stumpy. And if you have the perfect duo mate, you can be the best. And I think we can be the best.
This was a crazy move at the time. I mean, the duo went from winning the biggest tournament ever to never playing again. Nobody expected it, and honestly, I think this is why a lot of people tend to forget that they were the ones who won the World Cup. And this is also the reason that I couldn't put them number 1 on this list. Although Aqua went on to have a long Fortnite career, Nyhrox would stop playing shortly after the World Cup and hasn't been very much heard of since then. And if we had our World Cup winners at number 4, you can only imagine how good the number 3, 2, and 1 duos on this list will be. And speaking of World Cup winners, we have one here at number 3, Bugha and Mero. This is the second time that Mero is on our list, and it's for a good reason. Both Mero and Bugha are some of the most popular players in Fortnite history. They have both had incredibly successful careers before, during, and after teaming up. They actually started playing together as a trio on October 4th of 2021. Literally less than a month later, they won the Chapter 2 Season 8 Grand Finals.
Oh my god, we won! Let's go! I swear to god, hold on. I swear to god we won. No, I swear to god. Let's fucking go, boys! We actually won, yes, by 7 points, bro. Let's fucking go! Screenshot, bro.
This got them $135,000. But for some reason, following this crazy win, Bugha and Mero decided to drop the third member of their team, Muzz, right before the 2021 Grand Royale.
Bugha, Muzz, and Mero splitting up is real. The team that just won the last NA East FNCS a few weeks ago has now already split up the day before Grand Royale. So let's get to the bottom of exactly what happened. Now, it's really confusing, and unfortunately, we don't have too much information because the original tweets that Mero made about dropping Muzz and staying with Bugha and finding out they're playing with Dukes have now been deleted. So that is the new team. We now have Bugha, Mero, and Dukes. Dukes obviously winning the last FNCS before we saw Muzz, Bugha, Mero win it. So they did drop Muzz for an FNCS win of the season before, but a lot of people still really confused. Now, I don't have the tweets on hand. I believe Mero said something along the lines of Muzz is an incredible player. It is due to personal issues outside of them as a team.
People were pretty judgmental of this decision, and I don't think we ever found out really exactly why they stopped playing with Muzz, but picking up Dukes was a good choice anyway, because the three of them got first place in the Grand Royale.
We did, bro.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
First place in Grand Royale earned the trio $285,000. But this trio also wouldn't last, but for a different reason. Going into 2022, Epic Games switched the mode from trios to duos for FNCS. So instead of looking for someone else to play with, Bugha and Mero would drop Dukes and play as a duo together. After winning 3 FNCSs in a row, they obviously stuck together for the rest of the 2022 season, where they placed 3rd in Chapter 3 Season 2 and 2nd during Chapter 3 Season 3. However, despite their dominance throughout the year, they would only place 36th in the FNCS Invitational LAN, which would be the final time they would play as a duo, and they would end up splitting ways shortly after. I think it's clear why this duo is ranked so highly, and honestly, the only reason I have them at 3rd is because a lot of the times that they won together was as a trio, even though they were very successful as a duo as well. They played together for a couple years, and obviously both of their impacts in the game was massive, and for all those reasons, they earned themselves a top 3 spot. And similar to Bugha and Mero, our number 2 team also started as a trio, Cammy and Setty.
Trying to bait the revive so that way Cammy might peek. Straight through the wall. Shot's gonna be fired! And they do it!
Their first game together was on December 12th of 2020, and they've basically been together ever since. As a trio, they won first place at the Chapter 2 Season 2 FNCS Grand Finals, which earned them $300,000, and then they also got 2nd in the FNCS 2021 Grand Royale, winning $450,000. Following the switch from trios to duos, just like Bugha and Mero, Cammy and Setty decided to stick together, and the rest is sort of history. Since then, they've become the most recognizable duo to ever come out of Europe. If I were to name all of their major achievements, we'd probably be here all day, but let me list a few. Probably most notably, they got first place in the 2022 FNCS Invitational, earning themselves $200,000.
He's trying to bait the revive so that way Cammy might peek. Straight through the wall. Shot's gonna be fired! And they do it! Become Legends are on top!
Become Legends has officially managed to win the biggest fight of their careers.
Cammy and Setty are your FNCS Invitational champions.
We have never seen anything like this before.
Then the duo went on to take home 2nd place in the 2023 FNCS Global Championships and earn another $650,000. Unfortunately, the 2024 Global Championships didn't end exactly how they wanted, and they only came out with a 26th place, earning $16,000. Outside of Saf and Zayt, this is the longest standing duo on the list. They started teaming in 2022, and will definitely still be playing together in 2025, but technically because they started as a trio, Zayt do just edge them out a little bit on the length of duos. And another reason that I put Cammy and Setty so high on this list is because of loyalty. Even when they weren't playing the best together or not winning every tournament, they worked through their issues and kept sticking it out, and the results show for themselves. I think a lot of these younger duos in Fortnite nowadays can learn from Cammy and Setty that sticking together and working things out is sometimes better than just dropping your duo and moving on. And speaking of dropping your duo, our first place team will come as a surprise to probably nobody here. It's gotta be Peterbot and Pollo. Although they technically aren't a duo anymore, and I'll talk about that just in a second. Peterbot and Pollo started playing together in October of 2023 after Peter reached out to Pollo.
You were a fan of Peter. Did he reach out to you to play, or did you reach out to him?
I reached out to him.
Really?
Okay, so he was, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. He carried his teammate Sphinx last year. I just knew how good he was because we were coached by the same coach. I would watch him every tournament I could. I just knew that like we were gonna be the best duo.
I mean, the same thing happened with Bugha, but we actually never ended up playing. So playing with him and then winning felt better. Yeah, it felt good.
The two immediately clicked, placing first in a lot of the smaller tournaments towards the end of 2023. And then later on in 2024, they would really have their chance to shine. In their first FNCS, they placed second in the major, earning them $90,000.
Peterbot and Pollo in second. Peterbot was putting on an absolute highlight reel. The broadcast was showing some of the most ridiculous shots I have ever seen out of them.
They also set the single Cash Cup record when they won a perfect 6 out of 6 games in the Cash Cup finals.
It was too early. Nice. Oh my god.
Let's go. And they didn't stop there, because in Major 2, they broke the record for most points ever scored in a single day.
That's right. These guys have just broken the previous record for most points in a single day. The last time we saw this was OCE, Chapter 4, Major number 2 from Sons and Anon.
And on top of that, they stayed strong on day 2 and took home the first place win and $150,000.
Don't feed them the splashes. Don't feed them the splashes.
Dead! Oh my god!
Many thought that Peterbot and Pollo wouldn't be able to get a second FNCS win that year. I mean, a back-to-back win hadn't been done since Bugha and Mero all the way back in Chapter 2. However, Peterbot and Pollo proved all the non-believers wrong by getting yet another first place.
And we can say without a doubt, it is confirmed, Peterbot and Pollo have done it. The back-to-back has happened. Peterbot and Pollo, congratulations once again. The Axe of Champions will not leave their possession, and they're taking that. They're gonna take that to the Global Championships in September as a big flex piece. Like, hey, we are the ones that want to take it all home.
And then everyone was thinking, surely they won't win a third time in a row. It's Global Championships that someone will stop them at. And then they got first there too.
Would you please give it everything you've got for the FNCS Global Champions 2024 Peterbot and Pollo!
If you count just the major tournaments of only 2024, Peterbot and Pollo have won $770,000 together. And that's not even including the cash cups, smaller prizes, and anything else. This is a ton of money, especially for a 16 and 17-year-old that just started playing together this year. The reason that the two of them are at the top of this list is because Peterbot and Pollo had the most successful year in the history of Fortnite duos. However, it does seem like the two of them are going to split ways.
Me and Pollo are split up for trios, chat.
A lot of people thought they would look for a trio together, but I guess you never really know with Fortnite players. Also, guys, before I end the video, I totally forgot to add MrSavage and Bugha in when I was doing this top 10, and obviously they deserve a spot, so I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Put down in the comments below where you think MrSavage and Bugha should be on this list, and I'm going to do an entire separate video about them just to make up for this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!